to Moments with Marianne. I am so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have just an amazing show and guests coming right up. So our special guest today is a dear friend of mine, Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton, and she's here today to talk to us about her life as a psychic medium, her journey through love and healing, and her newly released book, The Hand Part 2. So Lynn utilizes her unique gifts to bring messages of hope, healing, and love to those who have suffered the loss of a loved one. So I'm honored to introduce my dear friend, Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton. So welcome to the show, Lynn.
Thanks, Marianne. Thank you so very much for having me. I'm truly honored. Thank you.
Do you know, we've been friends for quite some time, and as soon as I heard you had a book coming out, we had to have you on the show to talk about that. But, you know, before we even get into the book, I really want people to know what an amazing and just talented person you are. And so let's talk about, you as a person and your life and all that. How did you decide or discover you have this level of talentedness,
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it started probably my whole life, of course. Mm-hmm. But it started basically when I was about 4 years old. I had a couple of incidents that kind of happened that with lightning and figures behind the light and everything. And as years went on and as I got older, I knew I wasn't of the normal kid, per se. I always knew there was something different with me. So, basically, it really came out. I've been around it over 40 years, basically, and it really came out 17 years ago. My husband had passed tragically, and when that had happened, it seems like my gift just skyrocketed, and that's when I went out professionally, and that's when this all came about. But I knew that I had to get out there and try to help people and explain to them what I believe is life after death, and what really happens with that through the experiences that I've had over the years. So that's basically how it really happened. I worked for the airlines, and I always used to say, well, I have my wings. I was a manager for flight attendants, so I have my wings. I'm in the heavens, but I guess I just wasn't there, enough where I needed to connect with spirit. And I guess the universe just said, well, we're changing everything, and we're going to put you in a whole different place, and that's where I'm at this point in time.
So your youngest memory of being connected with spirit was you saw light?
Yes. I was, believe it or not, and I remember it so vividly, I was at relative's house, and I remember my uncle was holding me, and we were looking. It was a severe thunder and lightning storm out, and we were over there for a gathering, and we looked out the window. We were looking out the window, and I saw this flash of light, like a bolt of lightning hit the ground in the backyard, and all of a sudden I thought I saw a figure in the lightning. But it was weird because when that happened, it's like I felt this sensation come over me as such a little kid, But I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought that was just a reaction of thunder and lightning, and it's, I've had different situations in the course of my life with lightning, and it's really, it's really wild. Even in my house on Long Island, we were sitting one summer night, and all of a sudden a flash of lightning came in one window, hit my Rhode Island railing, and went out my other window. So it was like in an instant, So it's always been there. I guess I attract it, So so that's where it all started. That's where it all began. So I knew, there was something bigger and better to this picture than what I'm seeing as a child.
And about how old were you when that first happened?
The first happened, I was about four years old. I was I believe about four to 4.5, I believe it was. And then as the course of years happened, I had gone to a Catholic school. I was brought up Catholic, and I would always go at lunchtime, and I would always go over to the church. I was drawn to go over to the church, at all the years, of the 8 years that I went there. And I would always go, and I was a loner. I was always by myself, and I would go over to the church, and I would pray, in front of the statues, and or talk to them, basically, up till my 8th grade, up till those years. And I would go back and tell the nuns that the statues talked back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're talking about the statues of, like, Mary and Jesus.
Mother Mary, yes, Saint Therese, yes, yes. Yes, and, when you go back to school after lunch and you go back and tell the nuns where you were, and you were talking with of course, you sound crazy. So, I kind of like...
Yeah, they're not prepared for that,
No, they're certainly not in those days, for sure. So, I knew I was different. I just knew I was different, I knew it. And, I did that. And as a young child, too, I always would find whenever I would be upset or something, I would climb a tree. And I would sit up on the tree. And my mom would call me, and I'd be up in the tree. And she would always say to me, "What's with you and these trees? You're always up these trees, climbing stuff." And I'm like, well, I said, I don't know, but I just like to be, up higher, and I like to be sitting in a tree. Well, of course, that's grounding. Who knew that as a child? That's really grounding when you're connected with the tree. So, there were so many signs as my years growing, but again, living in the world that we live in, I didn't look at it like that, and spirituality, the only spirituality that we had as children growing up was, going to church, going to Catholic school, and, all very regimented, Catholic upbringing. So, fear of everything else. We could never talk about any of what's going on in the world now, So, and I kind of lived in like a fearful life. I believe that I lived in a kind of a fearful upbringing, fearful life, And I was always in fear, I never had too many friends. I was always just a loner. I was always by myself, and that's just how it was growing up. So,
And did you kind of, as you got a little bit older, growing up, were you surrounded by spirits, or did that come later?
I always felt there was something around me. I couldn't really explain what it was. Like, I would always felt my grandmother was there, or I felt my aunt was there, or my great aunt. I always, I would go to my cousins up in Rochester, New York, and we'd go. And again, everybody would go and play, and I would be in the bedroom, sitting there, kind of like feeling something around me, looking at pictures on the wall, and getting like weird kind of feelings. And there was this rocking chair. It was a maroon velvet rocking chair. And as a child, I always felt that my great aunt would be sitting in the rocking chair and rocking. So I would have conversations with her. And then, I would go down and tell my cousin, tell her. But when I told my mom or told my aunt, they were like, no, that's just your imagination. There's nobody sitting in but the rocking chair is rocking, of course. But again, my mom had this gift, but I feel that she was very fearful of it again, being in a Catholic family, growing up. I was Catholic, and what happened was, I feel that she silenced her gift, because she was an alcoholic, so she silenced her gift, and when she would see spirit, I think that she thought that she was going crazy. So, when I'm talking like that, now she really thinks we're both nuts. So, but I understand all what happened now as I've gotten older with my childhood and what had happened with spirit. So I
think for both her and for you, it probably was pretty scary because, with a certain, if you have a regimented upbringing that doesn't believe that these things are possible for you to see and hear and communicate with, then it kind of goes against a belief system that's in place. And then, she didn't really have anyone that was there to kind of help her along, right?
Right, exactly. It just, she lived upstate New York, grew up there, and then came down to New York City. We lived in a town out, 20 minutes from Manhattan, and she just had herself and her one friend on the block. She didn't have a lot of friends either. She was another loner. But again, growing up, I didn't know that, and she kind of thought she was crazy, so she drank because that kind of subsided everything. And now she has a daughter who's disgusting, so it's like, oh my God,
being able to see as well. Now, was your grandmother, was her mom able? Did she have any giftedness as well?
That was a very silent thing. We didn't know too much about my grandmother. She was very quiet to herself. She was very stern, very, very stern. And that was never, ever to be mentioned in the house. Because when you talk with stuff like that, that was like the devil's work. That was like, you don't talk about those things. You were possessed, going back in years. That's how it all, that's how that was all labeled. Yeah. So we didn't really,
So if she had any level of giftedness,
we wouldn't have known that. Yeah, we wouldn't have known that. But her aunt, which would be my great aunt, her name, Maggie O'Day, she definitely was completely gifted. She's the one that would come to visit me in the rocking chair. Okay, in the rocking chair. I had never met her, but I had heard stories about her in the family dynamics that they thought that she was a little kooky because she she would sit there and speak to the air, like, to nothing. And they would say, she's crazy, but we know different. We know different.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when you grow up with a family that, again, has that really strict spiritual belief that these are things that you cannot see and it's not okay, it's really, there's got to be this conflict that goes on. And I could see why your mother really was, suffering in some ways because it was kind of an internal battle, coming to some kind of, just like some kind of, level of understanding that what she's seeing is what she's seeing, but then her belief system as well is pushing her in a different direction.
Right, and I believe that. On my dad's side of the family, of course, it was, my heritage is English, Dutch, and Welsh, and they're kind of very stern too. So, like I said, my grandmother was a teetotaler, but nothing with tea leaves and nothing with kind of this kind of woo-woo kind of stuff. It was never, ever mentioned in my dad's side of the family. But spirituality in some ways was mentioned on my mom's, when they would say, well, we have some weird cousins and weird aunts, but, we don't connect like that, So I knew it was definitely connected there. And in the experiences that I did have over the course of my growing up years and when I would go upstate too is when I would really feel such strong connections, and that maroon rocking chair is still around to this day. In fact, I was at my cousin's a couple of months ago and she said, you want to go downstairs and see the rocking chair? And I said, absolutely not. I already have her right with me. I don't need to see the rocking chair, But,
as a kid, did that scare you, or was that?
As a kid, yes. I was a little fearful because I didn't know anything about negative and positive energy. So I didn't know if this aunt was there to hurt. I didn't feel she was going to hurt me. I felt she was a pure love, but it just kind of gave me the willies. And it was funny because my aunt, my mom's sister, my Aunt Betty, was a nun. And I always remember, seeing her and her habits, and she was very spiritual in her own way. She wound up leaving the convent, of course. Once my grandmother had passed, my aunt left the convent because I think she was very spiritually connected also. And she, she would always want to dress me up for Halloween and, always make me an angel, and she was pretty spiritually connected. So I think she kind of understood it also, between her and my mom. So, but she had this picture hanging on her wall, I remember, and it was it was probably a relative going way back in the 1800s, and I remember I'd look at that picture and I'd say, whoa, you know, how they look so stern and, you know, with the high-collared dresses and everything. I was like, wow. But, you know, so that kind of would spook me. But otherwise, I felt a level of comfortness and anything when I really sat by that rocking chair or sat on the rocking chair, you know. So, but that was a big play in my upbringing for sure.
Well, and it's always, I find it always fascinating. Usually when you see like a family member that has a level of giftedness, it seems to be almost like a generational kind of thing.
Yeah, I believe, you know, my belief is we all have it. And it's just, you know, God maybe gives a little more to certain people with spirituality, you know. Others have to develop it even more so. But I definitely believe it's a gift from God or the highest source or the higher power, whatever anybody, you know, does believe. But, you know, there were healers and spirit, you know, in God, Jesus' days. So, you know, I'm a total believer that, I was blessed with this, and I'm here to do what I have to do to help people.
Yeah,
that's what it comes about.
Well, and I know that you have brothers and sisters too, right? You're the oldest, right?
Yes, I'm the oldest of four. I have two brothers and a sister. Yeah, so I'm the oldest of four. Yes.
And I know, like, and when we talk about the gift going down generationally, I know like, I think one or two of your sons has this gift.
Yeah, it's really wild how it all connects. My oldest son, is a musician, and he, deals with music, you know, but he sees energy, you know, and, what his gift is really going in a different direction. His gift is with music. He's done some meditations with me and some events, and he would sit there and in front of the piano, and what would happen is he would connect with the energies that are in the audience, and then he would play his music on that vibration. And it's real, and that's how we would do a meditation. So it would be, you know, the audience's personal meditation. You know, and then he you know, emails a copy to them. But it's so beautiful how the music comes out, you know, and as I'm speaking and the music is just me. So he does see and feel, absolutely, and hear, as I do see, hear, feel, you know, clairaudience. And my daughter now is starting, she works with me, so she's starting to, her spirituality is starting to unravel also. And then my granddaughter, my second granddaughter is highly, evolving. She's in the knowing. She's extremely smart. She wants to be a doctor, and of course that's a healer. But she already knows, she's a real old soul, and she really connects, you know, crystal tiles growing up, you know, she's really connecting very strongly. So she will be, we're very close. I have 7 grandchildren, but she is very close with me in the spiritual realm. So she's right there. Yeah, so it does go down the generations.
Yeah. Well, and how lucky they are because they've got you to kind of help them through this process. When you were, you know, looking at your giftedness, and kind of just discovering that for yourself, did you get to a point where someone kind of helped you along? How did that go?
Well, what happened was, like I said, I went to Catholic school, of course, and then I met my husband, and, you know, all I wanted to do was get married and have children. That was just the best thing to do, you know. So that's what I did. I did travel a lot. One of my brothers does have the gift also, and I did travel a lot. And yes, I did meet a lot of well-known people, but I don't feel that really kind of, you know, helped it. I think it just let me know that there's more than just me out there with this gift, you know. And I met so many beautiful, you know, people out there, you know. And I think that helped. And that guided me to know that this is this is where I need to be. And like I said, after my husband had passed, that's when spirit really took me on a higher vibration, a higher frequency, and I was definitely connected. I did do some development classes, but it was really weird because when we were talking in development class, it's like I was a step ahead already, you know, and it was really bizarre. It like would just come to me naturally, you know. So I do sometimes do some development classes, just it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt to know what's going on, and that's really I teach development classes now, so
Well, it's always good to get more information and kind of learn as you're going. Because we all don't have all the answers all the time,
Absolutely. Right. And I'm always out there ready to learn. I'm ready to learn, especially where the world is these days and the way things are going on, and the whole shift of the energy and everything's changing, it's always good to keep, your mind open. I go to a lot of conferences, like from the afterlife, scientific conferences, because, science is really starting to connect now. They're getting it, the scientists and everything. So it's all, merging together, basically, which is beautiful.
It's such a journey with all that. So, you go along and you get married and you're having kind of a normal life. Was the spirit world, was that still kind of, knocking on the door going, hey, I'm here, or, you'd have, deceased relatives that would come and visit you?
Yeah, well, what would happen is, I was going on with my life, and my husband, was a total non-believer, so it's very hard to, I was going on with my life, and yes.
He worked for the police department, right?
He was a New York City police detective, yes, and you know how they are very, they don't believe.
They're very analytical.
Absolutely. And we had, 4 beautiful children. We had thank God, we had a beautiful life out in Long Island, and everything was going fine. I got a job at the airlines. Again, like I said, I managed flight attendants, so I had wings. So I felt that they were always kind of knocking at my door. I did connect with my mom a lot. When my mom had passed, I saw her spirit right away, right above. I looked up, and then she had transitioned over. I saw her, and I knew everything was going to be okay. And she comes to me, not a lot, but once in a while. She's probably, I don't want to say she's one of my earth guides, because I definitely feel my husband is. I feel he's a total earth guide for me. Not that I depend on all that. I have a lot of higher energies that are there for me also, my masters and everything. But I know that certain things, and spirit, they I believe that they'll guide you in some way, but the help is really coming from that source of love, that highest power, and that's where it all comes about, But our guides are here to guide us. We have our joy guides, and those are the children, and I connect with that a lot. But my husband connects a lot. I mean, I'm always asking for signs and messages, and he comes through with flying colors right away. And as soon as I ask, I almost feel like his energy is always on my shoulders, but I know, it's God. They move on, but definitely, he's a helper. He's definitely a helper. He's around,
Well, and your husband had a tragic passing, and we won't go into that, but,
yes.
He had a tragic passing, and then I know, after a period of time, you had, your giftedness started to continue to open up, and he was helping you with that.
Yes, and I will share this, the way my husband had passed, I knew wasn't that way. I knew it in my heart. I knew it.
We've had conversations about that.
Absolutely. Well, 6 mediums later, up until the day, a week ago, It's validation, coming with name situations. So he wanted to clear his name, and I'm so happy he did. So that's passed on that. But during that all, he's really been helping, and giving me signs. I mean, as a non-believer, as a police officer or detective, signs clear as can be. My daughter had gotten a car a couple of months after he passed, and she had to get a new license plate. And I'm all for license plates, and the license plate said CME 6007. Well, he passed on June 7th, and it's saying CME. So, I mean, you can't get better than that. And, those kind of signs are how they come about, and it's like, wow. Wow.
Well, and I know he's always sending you signs like his badge number, these things everywhere. When you come out to visit in Colorado, you're always seeing these little signs that he's around with you.
Little messages, my brother-in-law had passed in 1980, which was 20 years before my husband. And, again, another motorcycle accident. And we were always really on motorcycles. And what happened was, I have a friend, and he has a motorcycle. And he had told me, this is going back maybe about 8 years ago, sit on a motorcycle. I said, no, I don't like motorcycles. He said, no, just sit on it. Why sit out on it? And I turned around, and of course, I looked at the license plate right away. And I said, oh, my God, your license plate has my husband's field number. I couldn't believe the 4 numbers, on that motorcycle. So there's no coincidences with the people that come in and out of your life. It's all how it's supposed to be. I totally believe that.
When you were getting these messages from your deceased husband, were you feeling that was giving you a lot of comfort and kind of helping you along in your journey to be able to help other people understand that, this is not it, that there's life after this?
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on that, because I was thinking of that this morning. When you have a person that just believes, wow, they pass, they go in the ground, they go in the wall, that's it, their asses are here, boom, that's it, and then that's how it is, and then the breathing goes on. When you have somebody who's enlightened and open and realizes that there is more to it than just that, I believe that you handle it differently. Grieving is grieving, so it doesn't matter. I'm human, you're human, we all grieve no matter what, okay? Yeah. But when you are opened, okay, and you're enlightened and you're open, you understand it differently. You know that they're in a better place. You know that they're around. You know that energy is there, you're not just thinking, well, they're in the ground, I'm going to go. I don't even really go to the cemetery that often because I know he's not really there. His body is, but his spirit is with me and with all, and with my children, and, so I think you handle it better. I think you understand it better, it's never better to handle, death, but it's really not dying. It's really living. There's a quote in my book that says that, about it. Like, the day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity. So we might feel that we pass, but yet it's the birthday of eternity.
Well, and we were talking just the other day, and you said something that really kind of cracked me up but it's so true because Earth is really where we have the education. And we're saying, you're connecting with the dead, but it's the living that kills you.
I even say the living, I mean, they're great. It's so cool to connect with them, but they're dead. But the living really knocks you and kills you. And I feel that. I'm more in the ethers than I am on the earth, believe me, because it's a good place, But,
well, and it gives kind of a perspective. I mean, we're kind of laughing about it, but it really gives a perspective because, I mean, being here and showing up, and not just as a good person or someone that's like super enlightened, but, being here and being on your path and doing the right thing you know, regardless what's going on in your life. I mean, it's hard. And it could be, you know, how you communicate with people. It could be, you know, opening the door for somebody, showing a little bit of kindness. I mean, it's not easy. And for some people, they think, well, that should be easy, but it's really not. You know?
Right. Well, this is a school of learning. You learn your lessons. You know, you're learning all your lessons, life lessons. You know, what direction you're going to go. You're going to go to the good side. You're going to go to the bad side. You know, your decisions. But it's all free will. So you just, you know, do it the best you can do, basically. You know, and then you know, you move on. But you know, it's not easy. You know, going through the choices that we choose too. You know. You know, and then you look back and say, oh, why did I do that? Oh, why did I choose that? You know. So, but if you just, I always say, just go on a good path, like you say, treat people with kindness, and you'll definitely have a better connection when you go transition to the other side and you go through your life review. It'll be a better thing, believe me. So. Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about life reviews and all that, and we won't get into it in this conversation because I've got so many other things I want to cover with you.
Sure, go right ahead, but just spread love. That's all. I'm all about love.
Yeah. Well, and so so the first time you did, you had a spirit with you, and you were doing like a reading for someone who had lost a loved one. Why don't you share a little bit of what that was like? I mean, do you actually feel it? You know, is it something you smell? Why don't you share what that's like for us? So we get an idea.
Well, I'll share a great story. I have great stories. Everybody says you and your stories, but I do. They're great. They're amazing stories, you know, and I'm so happy, you know, that I can connect. One of the first times was I was at a barbecue, and I'm sitting there, and I'm seeing this little girl in spirit. And I can tell you exactly how she's dressed because I believe she's my joy guide now. Because whenever she comes forth, there's a child that has passed. So she has a little pink dress on with little patent leather shoes, and you know, and that was my vision of her, and socks and a hair and a face point. And I see her. I can see through her, translucent. Okay. But I see her energy going back and forth, but I see her in a vision. So I asked anybody at the table if they lost anybody at that age range, and they said no. I said, well, that's really interesting. Well, she's here. So I go to Chicago, and I go to an event in Chicago, and I'm sitting with these three women, and my friend came with me, and I had told my friend about the little girl. So I'm sitting with these three women, and they said, oh, can we meet after for tea or a glass of wine or tea or something to talk? And I said, sure. So we went about our business. We come back, and the one woman went outside, and there's about 3,000 people there. And this one woman goes outside, and she meets this other woman. And she tells her who she's with. The woman comes in. And long story short, there's no mileage between spirit or anything, but they will connect me with who I have to connect with. And what happened was, I see the little girl again, and she's there around this table, but I'm sitting there with the women, and I said, wow, I'm thinking, in my thought, somebody here had lost her. She was the child of somebody. Well, this woman who came in, you know, odd man out, there were three, now there are four, comes in, we start talking, and I just started asking her, you know, did she lose a child? Because I described the child to her because I had her personality, I saw her, I felt her energy. So, you know, I sense, clear sensing, you sense it, you clairvoyant, you see, and I just felt her personality, and I described her, and she starts crying. She goes, oh my God, that's Lulu. So I said, Lulu, and she said, that's my 5-year-old daughter who went in for a nap and never woke up. And I said, well, she's telling me for you to show me her picture, because I heard her tell me her photo. So, she impressed that thought on my mind. I asked the mom shows me the picture, the picture is exactly the vision of the little girl. The face, the hair. Yeah, exactly. Everything.
Yeah.
So, that's how I see. I see. A lot of times spirit will come to me through a personality, give me the personality, give me, a lot of times your face is like of a white mist. It's not a clear face, but I do get like the personality and the laughter or something that will validate to their loved one that it's them. You know, something, it's a knowing. It's just that knowing, you know, that it's them.
Well, and did it take you a while to really trust what it was that you were getting? Because I think a lot of people, when they start to see, or maybe they saw as a child and then they shut it down and then it starts again, that they really have a hard time trusting, kind of like how you were talking about how your mom felt like she was going, you know, like nuts, because you would think that you would need a padded room if you start seeing people walk around and talk to you who other people can't see, you know?
Right. Well, that big word is trust. That is a big word. In fact, it's funny you say that because I was conversing with somebody this morning who was one of my students, and the biggest thing I would tell her is trust. And now she's out there and she's helping people. So, and we haven't talked in a while, so I was so glad to hear that she is. She finally, you know, gave up she trusts. Yes, trust is a big thing. A lot of times you might think, I'm going a little crazy. Maybe I'm thinking it's that. Maybe I'm thinking it's this. You know, trust. 9/11 trust. I saw 9/11 before it happened in a different way, and I told some people, and they of course thought, "Uh-oh, she's losing it," you know. And then 2 weeks later, it happened. You know, I didn't see 9/11 as 9/11. I saw it as fear for the United States because I felt that there were missiles pointing towards the United States. That's what I felt. And then 2 weeks later, it happened. So, and it was from a country over. I was landed in Istanbul when I got, not that they were the ones, but that's where I was landing when I got that feeling, you know. So that knowing, and even the day before I was flying down to Dallas because I worked for the airlines and going to a meeting, and I turned around and I said to my girlfriend, wow, I fear for the United States, and now I fear for the Statue of Liberty. And she looked at me like, what? Because we were flying right over it the day before, and sure enough, it happened. And just to share, a couple of weeks ago, they had that bombing in London in the subways. And the same girl I was with, we were going into Manhattan for a meeting, and we were in the subways. And I said, you know, these subways, man, there's something about these subways. And I just feel that that's where something's going to come down. Sure enough, I get home, and I hear about the London subways. So when I speak, it's like button. You better listen because they give me a lot of great messages, you know.
Well, and it's really interesting because, you know, when these things happen, it's like, who do you go to tell about this? There's really nobody.
Who can I go to? Say, yeah, whatever.
Well, and the thing is like, you would almost, you know, they wouldn't believe you, and if they did, you know, then you would have to really focus on getting more information too, because it seems like a lot of this still is in play, you know?
Exactly. It's like going to the nuns and saying, and they go, no. Although this day and age, just now, I do believe they would believe whoever comes to them.
On that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. You've been listening to Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton on Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages.
The highly acclaimed and newly released book, The Hand Part 2 by Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton, describes the journey between a psychic medium and a family who lost a son. Messages from Beyond Eternity's Gate is of love and healing. For more information, visit www.lynnvanpraagh-gratton.com. That's www.lynnvanpraagh-gratton.com.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 123 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. So today we're here with my dear friend Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton, who's a psychic medium, and she's here today to share with us not only her life growing up as a psychic medium, the journey that she's taken through love and healing, and also her fabulous teas, which we'll talk about later during the show, but also her newly released book that just came out yesterday. So, Lynn, a lot of things have changed in how people view psychic mediums. It's, much different in the 70s, where a lot of that information was kind of frowned on when you would tell people, hey, I could see spirit, or you can communicate with spirit.
Nah, that wasn't happening.
No, normal people didn't think like that. Now we kind of flash forward, because I know you personally, and I know all the great work that you do, and gosh, every time you're out here in Colorado, we've worked together and heard about the events that you've done and the different things you do out in the New York area, and really all across the U.S. You've been all over the place, having workshops.
I'm blessed.
Yeah. Well, we're blessed to have you. And so when someone is when we look at all of this and we're looking to, if someone wants to be involved in one of your group sessions that you do or one of your events, why don't you explain a little bit of what that's like so people can get an understanding of, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to, or just, erroneous thinking when it comes to people who are psychic mediums. They think, they're looking everyone up ahead of time on Google, and who has time to do that,
Right.
And basically, do you have spirits that's really they're all standing in line, but why don't you share a little bit, what it's like for you when these events happen?
Okay, so first of all, yes, I get that a lot. I get when I do a lot of, I call it spiritual house gatherings. And I get that. I don't get that a lot anymore, but I used to get where when I would come and give them such information, they'd say, did you Google me? So I said, well, who are you? I don't know who you are. How could I Google you if I don't even know who you are, So that's the first question they always say, did you Google me? No, I really didn't,
I would ask, should I?
really, maybe I should, But what happens, a typical day of how I go about that is, of course, meditation in the morning or meditation before the event, we'll say, like a big event you're talking about, or you're talking about, I just came back from Chicago, and there's about, I don't know how many people there were. There was a lot of people. So I don't know. But a big event, how it works for me is when I meditate, say my prayer, and ask for any message to come through for those who I am touching for their highest good. That's how I start my whole have my whole little situation there. So I ask for the highest good. So when I do a house gathering of like 10 to 12 people, every person gets a reading. They're touched, okay? I ask Spirit to connect with them. Those, a lot of people think that, that one didn't connect with me, so now. I said, no. I said, those who come forth to you are either ones that need to get a message forth. I said, you're here. There's no coincidences. You're supposed to be here. My belief is that Spirit connects me with who I need to connect with, okay? To give you an example, okay, I was in Chicago, and there was this woman in the audience, and her son came through, and he came through amazing, and he just gave her validating messages, and she felt so healed. She told me after and everything else, and she comes out to me after, and she says, I need to tell you something, and I said, yes, and she said, I went to the best of the best. She says, I went on cruises, I went here, for years, for 10 years, I've gone to the best of the best, and my son never came through. He came through you tonight. So, that touched my heart. I said, well, a lot of times my belief is Spirit will come through, because I am pure love, and I'm not saying anybody else isn't. Anybody is, but I guess he chose my energy to connect with his mom, So I was blessed with that. And that means more to me than $1 trillion, to know that that boy came through and gave her such validating messages and to let her know, about him. And he really gave her powerful stuff that was coming out of my mouth was like, oh my God, that'll come. But she said, no, right on, you're right on. So that's special. So it's not that I chose that way and said, I'm going to read her and see what comes through. I feel the Spirit touches my heart and connects with me through that vibrational energy, and then I connect with those who they want me to connect with. And like I said, at a house gathering, energy comes to each one of them. But in big groups, a lot of people get upset because they all want to come, they want a reading, they want you to touch them. But a lot of times it might be a word or something that you say to somebody else that that loved one is trying to let them know, And I just tell them, I don't ask you to believe, I just ask you to be open. And if you're open, then you'll receive, and you'll receive what you're supposed to hear, and that's how it all works.
Yeah, I've been in quite a few of the events that you've done, and it's been just amazing. I can remember having a woman I think she was sitting a few rows in front of me, and you had talked to her in regards to, she had connected to, I can't remember if it was her mom or dad, but it was it was one of her parents, and they had given her something. You were able to see what it was, and it was a charm bracelet that had horse heads on it. Like
yes,
horses.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and it was very interesting because, she had to actually pull that out of her jacket because it was on her arm and the jacket was covering it. You couldn't even see it. But she had to pull that out just to show and say, well, you were like, well, didn't they give you like jewelry with the horse heads, and she was so shocked that you had pulled that, had pulled that information, and much more importantly, not just the confirmations like, hey, your aunt or your mom or dad are here, but they have this message for you that's personal to you.
Right. And you know what? I tell them, I don't do the Mary and John thing because everybody has a Mary and John. I am not. I believe I'm not. I don't generalize anything. I go what Spirit gives me. And funny story. When I was in Chicago last week, I thought this was the funniest thing yet. They give me names. Sometimes they give me their first and their middle name. Sometimes they give me for validating things. Well, I said who lives on Longwood Avenue? It was funny. It was a gentleman, it was a father energy. His name was Ben, and he said, I lived on Longwood Avenue. And I'm in Chicago. I don't know anything about Chicago. Well, don't you know this woman stands up? I said, oh my God, are you kidding? I said, wow, this is great. So it was her dad, who lived on Longwood Avenue, who was a trucker, who drove, and he says it would only be him, that he would always be talking about directions when he was alive and the different streets. And she said she couldn't believe that when I said Longwood Avenue, because that's where he lived, and she says it only would be him, that he would come through with that kind of message and with a street name. And I says, wow, this is getting crazy. Now they give you where they live, so when they were here on the earth. So I thought that was pretty cool too, It's like, holy mackerel. That was, it kind of got me. I was standing there, wow.
Well, and you just never know what you're going to get, which I always find very fascinating because it can be anything. It could be addresses, jewelry.
Absolutely.
It could be a saying. It could be a song. You name it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so amazing, and that amazed me, and it's funny when I get amazed. And we come to something like, oh wow, that amazed me. They all look at me like, oh, this is happen all the time. I go, come on, name, middle name, address. Holy mackerel,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool,
Well, and so, and part of the reason we have you here is, of course, to talk about, all this, your wonderful life and how things have progressed and how you've gotten to the point that you are. And the other part is because you have a new book out. And I'm so excited about that.
Me too. I am too. I would never have thought this in a trillion zillion years that I'd be talking in front of hundreds of people and I would have a book. I would say, you're wrong.
Yeah, kind of like that. Because I know you're so down to earth, and so it just kind of seems like such a jump. Well, and so why don't we talk a little, because I know your book is part 2. It's called The Hand, and it's part 2. So why don't you share a little bit about how this book even became into being and how you met the people that started part 1 of The Hand?
Absolutely, I would love to. Well, first of all, I had an idea years ago. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book about, it's not really about me, but about me and my life, of the different, ups and downs, because a lot of people, would connect in that way, growing up in the 50s and 60s and growing up, in different situations in my life. And I wanted to write a story about me, and then I write a lot about my different, situations that happened. There's amazing things, and I'm sure everybody has it, but I just wanted to share it because it was just so mind-blowing sometimes. And the universe is so beautiful because they are putting people into my life and putting things into my life that if you trust, there's that word again, trust, and if you trust and you believe, then know that you can manifest it and it's there. So what was happening in spirit was giving me different people that are coming into my life that are supposed to be there. So I had gone to a house spiritual gathering, and
what's a house spiritual gathering for?
Okay, so what my house spiritual gathering is, I asked for about 10 to 12 people at somebody's house. I go to people's houses, and 10 to 12 people, we all sit around in a circle, and spirit comes through, and I give reading. Touch each one with a short reading. Yeah. So what happens is I touch this gentleman and his wife, and after everything's over, they come up to me and they said they were, they kind of like, well, wow, this is so beautiful. You were spot on with all of everything that we were here for and everything, and we really enjoyed tonight, and we would love to go out to dinner one night. And I've been invited out to many, many a dinner, but being where you are at my point, you have, first of all, if you keep going out all the dinners, you're going to be really rolling around. And second of all, I have to be very cautious. I love the people that I connect with, but I got to be very cautious too, because who knows? A lot of times there's people that want to take advantage of you or use you for some other situation.
It's got to be also sometimes energetically draining to be doing all that kind of work and to be out there. So I can understand how having downtime would be so important.
Yes, and that's why I'm very particular who I go out to dinner with or who I spend some time with, because you're right. They will drain. Some people will just, I call it, it's like a psychic vampire. They drain the heck out of you, and you can't even, forget about it. So, I'm very
they
cautious.
don't really intend to either. They just don't
Absolutely
know.
not. But I'm so sensitive that I'll just pick it up and I'll start going on with it,
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was we wound up going to dinner, and we chatted and talked and everything. It was beautiful night, beautiful couple, beautiful. They're so in love, and they've been married 40-something years, and it's like they just got married. And he's a retired lawyer from New York, New Jersey, and very, very smart. One of my frames of reference when I saw him there, I saw Einstein off him. So when I see that, it's usually scientists or somebody who's very, very, very
intelligent.
Very, very. So what happened was we had a beautiful dinner, and he said since he's met me, he's written a book. And I said, oh, that's beautiful. He said, I've really written 10 books in 7 years. I said, wow, that's awesome. So he says he felt that it was like channeled to him. I said, that's so beautiful. And then it was so weird. I said, wow, I'm almost feeling, he says the book he wrote, I inspired him. So I said, wow. He said, you know what? I said, you know what? I feel like I have to spin off your book. So he looked at me. Now, my book that I was writing, that I intended on writing, was of my life and everything else, like I had said before. The universe had something different planned. So we completely went from my book that's almost finished, which will come out eventually, that book, but we went to where it's going to spin off. Well, lo and behold, I started writing and writing. I read the transcript of his book and everything. I started writing and connecting and got it and this and that. And so my book picks up, his book ends in chapter 49. My book starts at chapter 50. My book continues from his book. And it's a fiction, nonfiction, because my book has a little touch of my life story. My husband's alive, the children, we're back in the 60s. Time has changed, and it's like if you're it reminds me of the This Is Us story, because we have some stuff that we have now that's back in the book and from then, so it's like back and forth.
Yeah, what's the premise of the first book?
The premise of the first book is there's this young man who was born with part of his pinky digit finger missing. Okay, and he was a very smart boy, and he went to different places, past lives. He felt past lives. So we went.
Well, we don't want to give the whole book away, so
All right, but it does reflect the past lives. It does reflect why it's called the hand is because part of his pinky is missing. That's all I'm going to tell you on that. Okay. Then it comes into my book,
and it shares a lot about your story and just kind of who it is that you are. And I think that's just absolutely fascinating because it's so much of your journey, that goes along as well. So, gosh, you've got to be excited because your book just came out yesterday,
Yes.
So yay.
It's a book of healing, it's healing. It's definitely a book that people will get a healing understanding from, so it's not just, about me. It's a dynamic book, and it just came out yesterday, and I'm very excited.
Oh, you got to be very excited, and I hear it is just flying off the flying off the shelf.
Wow, that's beautiful. No, but I just feel that it's a different kind of book, and I'll tell you, don't be surprised if you have the hand part 3. So the same,
coming up,
you know.
Coming up,
you never know, because it's an inspirational book, and I really, it's funny when I started to read my own transcript once I got it on the paper, I was like, wow, I didn't want to put it down. That's kind of funny for your own book, but it was pretty interesting, so yes.
Well, and so you've got the book, and so what are I know we kind of hinted a little bit that there might be a part 3, and I think that's exciting as well, and you've got your other book that you've been working on for some time, and I know when we look at having our own journey that we're sharing with people, we want to be really, take our time with it and really involve everything that we want to include in that,
Right.
So where do you see yourself going from here?
From here, okay. Well, first of all, I'm very happy with the book, and I didn't write the book or writing the other book or any book. I didn't write it just, I want to be an author and I want to write a book. It just came how the universe planned it, okay? So, yes, will I do another book? I'm sure I will. If that's, I live by whatever spirit guides me. Here, wherever they guide me, if a TV show comes down the road or a movie or something like that, I'm there. I'm not a person who I gotta have a TV show, I gotta have a movie, or I gotta have this. No, I live how spirit wants me to, and if that's meant to be, then that will happen. It's all been happening the way they're directing it. I'm not directing the show here. I'm not in charge. I'm not in control.
I know you say that all the time.
I'm not, and they put producers in my life. They put people in my path, that are coming to me. I'm not looking for it, So,
so we'll see what it becomes.
Yeah, who knows, Who knows? I have a lot of great ideas, but again, I always say people, they say, it's really not about the money, it's about the message. It's really about getting that message out and getting that love out and that healing and just letting people know that, they're going to be okay, and everybody grieves in their own way. No matter what, everybody grieves, and nobody can tell anybody how long to grieve. We all grieve in our own way and to the length that it has to be.
Well, and I've been at events where I've seen people come in, and events of yours where people come in and they're so, you could tell they're just wrought with grief. It's just, it's like a cloak, a heavy cloak that they're wearing. And getting those messages really, from their loved ones that have passed, it just shifts the energy completely, where I think, from what I've seen, they walk around like the cloak is on and they have hope.
Yes, and a lot of people said to me, they would come in dreary and everything, and they say to me, oh my God, you're such a life changer. You're a life changer. And I look at them, and I used to have a hard time with that. It's not me. It's really, I'm just, the messenger. But
really
that's a beautiful thing to hear. Yeah, and that's so beautiful to hear that here they came in so downtrodden, and then they walk out, and like you said, they have hope. The light's shining just a little bit more, and there's skeptical people, and there's non-believers, and you know what? Everybody goes on their own journey, and I believe I'm doing what I'm supposed to be here to do. I know
there's no
I
doubt
have
about
a gift.
that.
Yeah, and I know I have a gift, and I'm here to help, and I like we always say, I'm from the heart, and I'm pure love, and I will give that pure love out. That's where I come from. That's and hopefully my children and grandchildren are picking up that pure love. They're doing great, so so that's good.
Yeah, well, and it really is a place where people can come and get some answers, get some peace, and be able to really feel that they're having a healing, whatever that looks like for them in their lives.
Absolutely. That's right. Whatever helps them in their own way. Whatever helps them. just to know and to hear.
And again, we don't want to give away too much of the book. I mean, I've got my copy in Kindle, and I've ordered the book itself. I can't wait to get my hands on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what do you want the readers to take away from your book?
What I want them to take away from the book is part of the book is also, again, it's how I understand, but there's really something more to transitioning to the other side than a lot of people believe, and just to take away that there is hope, there is healing, and there is understanding and knowingness, and know that they're around and they're with you. Look for the signs. That's one of my biggest things is signs, I shared this with you the other day, and I have to share it on here, where my husband was an avid Beatles fan, and I always asked him, wow, the book is done, the book is finished, everything I put in it, do you agree with that? Give me a sign, let me know. Not that I'm going to change it now, but it's in print. And he was an avid Beatles fan, and I get into the car, and the song Paperback Writer comes on. I mean, these are the signs. These are the things that give us hope and understanding and know that they're around. And they'll give us messages, and they'll let us know. They'll give us answers. They're speaking from the other side, I believe. So,
I've seen you relay information that there's no way, I've heard people say there's no way she could have known this. This is a private conversation between me and my mom or a friend of mine, or this is a pet name someone used to call me, and there's no way that you would have known this information. And so when this is relayed to the people who are sitting in the audience or sitting in your groups, or maybe doing a one-on-one session with you, it's really interesting because they're able to get that hey, I'm not alone, and there's more to all of this.
Exactly. And that's what's special, that's what's special about it, I also, just want to share, I have my spiritual keys, and how I relate to them with this is, they always want me when I go to their house or we do events, they want me to stay, talk to me, because they feel, they're connecting with their loved one. They want that connection. And I always say, now I came out with these keys. I said, well, have a cup of tea. I said, with me, we'll have a cup of tea, we'll talk. I said, and then tomorrow, have another cup of tea, and I won't be here, but it'll bring you back into that moment where you were with your loved one, because they always want me to stay with them. Well, that will bring them back and let them feel that energy is there and their loved one is there. And
what they're really wanting too is not only for you to stay, but they really want to still have that connection with that loved one.
Absolutely. And I'm noted for my hugs.
You are a hugger,
in Chicago, And they said when I hug them, and I feel that when I hug them, I feel that it's that true essence of that love that's coming from my heart through to theirs, from their loved one. And that's really, that hug is from them. It's not from me. It's from their loved one.
You're kind of channeling hugs there too,
Yeah, I got channeling hugs now. That should be the name of my next book, Channeling Hugs,
Channeling hugs.
But no, I've been told that many a time too, that when I hugged them, they felt like it was their son hugging them, or their mom hugging them, and I give that intention, that's what it's supposed to be. For sure.
Is another reason that you have the book the way that you do is so people can also get an understanding a little bit of what your life is like?
Yes. It touches on my life a little, and I want them, to know that, I'm not your mother's knows best, a lady with the apron and the whole bit. Yes, I raised my family. Although my son said to me the other day, Mom, I don't remember you making dinner that much. I said, are you kidding? I make dinner every single night. I was like, what?
It's like, how did you eat?
Kids forget. I was like, is he kidding? I can't believe he said that. But, I was like, oh my God. But, when you get older, you forget things. It's funny. I remember cooking. Look at the pots. They have the burn marks on it now.
Yeah, now it's going to be his turn to cook with a comment like that,
Yeah, really. I believe that I raised my 4 children with respect. I raised my grandchildren. I hope they have respect as they do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just believe that I put a lot of that in the book because that's how I will. We were family. We were a family.
Yeah.
We were.
Well, and I think a lot of
family.
times what happens is people kind of get confused. They think that because you can connect your psychic medium, you're so gifted and you can connect to the other side, that your life is easy, it's peachy keen, it's tough, but you're having to go through all the same human things that the rest of us have to go through.
Absolutely. I'm not any different. I'm not a big celebrity that's all this and that. I have the aches and the pains and the hurt and the sorrows just as anybody else does, the financial woes, different things. We all have it. Because that's all how we learn, we grow, we get strength from the horrible things that happen to us and everything. So, but again, it gives us strength. And again, I always feel there's no coincidences. So when things happen, they always happen for reasons. And sometimes we look back and say, wow, why would that? Why? Well, we chose that. We contracted that. That's what we needed. We need to grow. And that's how it all happens, I'm not different than anybody else, and none of us, we're all on the same level. There's not one medium that's better than the next, or one scientist is better than the next, or one doctor. We're all equal. We are all equal, and we're all.
And you may have somebody that might have maybe a greater sensitivity or greater giftedness in one area. But we're all gifted in different areas.
Absolutely. We're all special. We're all special. It's not just one of us or any. We're all special. Absolutely. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Let's say that someone is kind of feeling energy and has been kind of going, gosh, I can kind of feel a little bit of energy here. I feel like I'm developing energy, or I'm seeing things, or I'm able to communicate. What is some advice you want to give them? Because I know that you've also got some workshops that you're going to be doing coming up.
Yes.
And so what's some advice you can give them? And why don't you talk a little bit about some of your upcoming workshops?
Okay. Well, first of all, advice, my main word is trust. That's what I give. I mean, I had a young lady yesterday, and I was explaining to her, first of all, it's almost like when you're ready to start your spiritual journey, you'll know. You'll know when you're ready. And you could be 10 years old, you could be 20, you could be 70, That's what Brett, the gentleman who's worked with the book with me, is he said, I have my wife, my love of my life. I have my business, I'm financially set. He says, I have all that. He said, I have all that. He said, but he said, now you inspired me, and now it's my spirituality that I want. And then he's an older man. So,
it's really interesting because, as people are growing and developing with their own gifts, and we kind of look like people are like, well, I don't want to be woo-woo, I'm an attorney, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I have a professional job. I don't want to be woo-woo, but it's okay if I trust my intuition or my gut, which is kind of the same thing,
Right. Well, it is, and I always say trust your gut, and you were talking about the workshops. Yes, well, like psychic development, 1, 2, 3, we're all intuitive. It's how you develop it. It's how you develop it. You can develop it. When the phone rings, oh, that's Joe on the phone. Oh, it is, So there's definitely exercises to learn. We're going to be doing some workshops with psychic development, probably like a 1, 2, 3. Mediumship too. know what the sense is, what it means when you feel that coolness around you, or you feel that sensation, or you feel your hair is going up on end or something, or you think you see something. So all those are all the kind of workshops that I will be, teaching to try to have people have a better understanding and a better knowing of what's going on in the surroundings around them.
Yeah.
So that will be coming up soon. That will be coming up soon.
Yeah, because I know that you've been out to many events where they have you come out and talk, and so I always want to kind of keep touch on when you're going to have your next event and all that. And I'm glad that you brought up the teas. I actually I ordered your teas and I love them. And you're right, because what's really good is you're able to really sit in the moment. And whether you're spending time or maybe it's someone's read your book and they kind of want to bring themselves back to a part that really meant something to them. They can, sip the tea and just kind of get into that it's kind of almost like a Zen kind of state that allows you just to kind of get back. Because they always talk about how sense of smell or taste or sound will bring you back to a specific point in time. Like if you hear a song, you remember, dancing with a loved one, or certain smells will do the same thing. And so it's nice to be able to have that, to connect kind of back to that moment and with loved ones.
Right. Well, they're all natural. They all have lavender. I mean, I had somebody write me yesterday, will help me sleep. It'll put you in a relaxed state. Somebody also wrote me and asked me, will I become a medium if I drink it? I was like, no, it's not a magic potion.
I was going to start ordering those by the gallon and start drinking those.
Yeah, really. But no, they're all natural. They're amazing. They're just amazing, and everything was channeled. The names, the paragraph in the back, the flavors. But I wanted lavender in each one of them because I felt that will put you in, like you said, like a relaxed state. And
I do remember you had talked with me before the tea even came out. I was so happy to get the inside scoop on this. Is that you sat and you meditated, and the names came to you from spirit?
Yes, they did. They all came from spirit. So that's why I'm excited. They were, it was just a beautiful thought that somebody came up with, and we put our heads together and. I'm all about, giving them these people in the world just, relax and take it easy and take time for yourself and love yourself and take you in moments of peace and tranquility, and hopefully that will help also. So, I'm here to help,
Well, and of course you are. My goodness, and this is why that's why I love spending time with you. This is why a lot of people seek your help when it comes to connecting with loved ones that have passed. So I know that your book is available on Amazon and also as a Kindle, and they can get it at the website. So the book, The Hand, Part 1, and
it's on Barnes & Noble also. Barnes & Noble, and it will be on Monday. It will be on. We have a Facebook page just called The Hand, and you'll be able to purchase it on that page also. And we're going to kind of keep, that page going and asking everybody to join that Facebook page too.
Oh yeah, I got the invitation yesterday to join. I joined, and so I can stay on top of everything that happens with.
Thank you so much.
And Lynn, so where can people connect with you also to be part of your community? Let's say someone wants to schedule, like a reading with you or an appointment with you, or maybe a group session if they're in your neck of the woods. If not, I know people have flown you out to do readings with them. So where can they connect with you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I've been all over Vermont and Chicago and Florida and all that. We're going to be doing book signings, which we'll probably start setting up some book signings in all different states all over the country. So, how they can find all that information out is on my website, first of all, and on my Facebook pages, because we will be posting everything on all of that. And my website basically will have everything up to date on where we will be. And they will probably get emails also when we're at a certain place to do book signings. My website, it's a long one, but it's Lynn Van Praagh-Gratton.com. And then my Facebook page is the same also. So,
and we're going to have that information where people can connect to and learn more about not just you, but the book and just kind of get involved in, if they need someone to reach out to connect with spirit, or they're just looking to kind of further that spiritual path.
Right, or guidance. And the book does come in a set, part 1 and part 2. So, you can purchase them separately, but I think that's kind of, that's why we kind of put it in a set, because this way it'll feed you right into the other book. So, and from one book into my book, so.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful story together. So we want to make sure that they get that. Lynn, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us today.
Thank you, Marianne, for having me. And like I said, I'm honored, and I'm glad we're great friends. I'm glad that we can get that word out there, It's important.
I'm so delighted to not only talk with you and talk with you about your journey and your life, but of course share your great book. And everyone needs to pick up their own copy of The Hand, Part 1 and 2. You can order it on Amazon, or do like what I did, is get it on Kindle too.
Well, that's the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday